In this video, we will run over using the administration tools within Egress Secure Workspace. The first section I might want to click on is the admin dashboard. If I go over and click on the admin dashboard, this will bring up a few graphs and statistics about the user's usage of the workspace. At the top, I can see some pie charts about what types of users are accessing the workspace, for instance whether they be internal or external. Moving down the page, I can see more graphs based on what kind of file types are being uploaded into the workspace, and also how much file and storage space is being used. I can also get a good idea of what users are using the workspace the most, and what kind of activity they're undertaking. So the admin dashboard really just gives us a good overview of the general usage of the workspace. If I now click on admin tools, this is where I can manage users, zone permissions, and so on. If I start on the users and groups tab, I can select the first option to actually manage the users and groups. From here I can see everyone that has access to the workspace, whether that be internal users or external users. I can also select what permission they have. So by default your internal users will have full user permissions, but if I invite someone in external, they will come in as a guest user. If I now move on to roles, I can manage what different zone, folders and file permissions that people have. And within these different permissions, I can actually change what kind of capabilities that different user can do. If I click, for example, on Manage Files and Folders roles, I can actually see the different permissions that have currently been created, and I can either click on one of the current permissions to edit them, or I can hit the plus symbol and actually create my own custom role. So if I give that role a name and hit create role, I can actually go on to my new custom role, and then I can tick exactly what kind of permissions I want that user to have over the files and folders. Once I've done that, I can save these changes, and now when I go to share a file or a folder, I'll be able to select my new custom role to give to that user. If I then go back to the admin tools homepage, I will now move on to the zones tab. From here I can click on manage all zones. And I can actually see all the zones that have been created by the users within my workspace. I can filter this down by a different user. So if I go over to here and click on filter, I can select which user's zones I want to see. So if I click on that, I can then see all the zones that that user has uploaded. So that gives me a good idea of what's going on within my workspace. If I now go back to the admin tools homepage, I will select on audit events. And from here I can get a good overview of all the different auditing events that are going on within the workspace. Like before, I can select which user to have a look at in particular. So I can see when they've last signed in, when they've last uploaded documents or edited documents, and so on. And I can actually export this as a CSV as well by clicking here. If I now go back to the admin tools homepage, the final thing I will just run over is that you can actually enable MFA settings. So if I turn on multi-factor authentication, I can either do this so that internal users only have to enter a code that they will receive via text in order to log into the workspace, or I can enable that this is for external users only. Note that I can also lock this down to different IPs based on where the user is logging on from.